Hi, due to the circumstances of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, you and your family might be finding this time really difficult. I know some of the people who I work with, they're having a lot of financial difficulty, so I've decided to make this video to help people budget plan. So I'm just going to share the screen so you can read along as I'm talking. So, so firstly, my name is Niamh Grinny and I am the Senior Project Worker in JAD in Jobestown. So some of the challenges now you might be faced with is that you're spending a lot more time at home. The kids aren't in school, so there's no school breakfast club or after school club. Because of this, it impacts on the amount of food you might need. Like you're going to have to provide breakfast, lunch, dinner, supper, and maybe some snacks in between. Um, you'll have to have double gas and electricity, and maybe even more than what you would usually put in on a weekly basis because you're at home so much. You might be charging your phones, watching telly a lot, listening to the radio. Then if you have kids as well, PlayStations and things like that, lights being on and off all the time, that you will have to have the extra electricity for that. For gas, you might not need it as much because we are having some nice weather. Um, but when you're making your own plan, customize it to suit your family. You'll know how much you need to last you for the 2 weeks. And then there's also the extra pressures then of you're receiving a double payment. You have to make sure your bills are paid for the 2 weeks, or that you split your money in half for to last you the 2 weeks. Then extra stresses in the home. You and your family might be on top of each other because you are all at home so much. This can cause an increase in alcohol use, cigarette use, and substance use. So just mind yourself with that. So some of the risks then you might face at this time is your rent, electricity, or other bills going into arrears. If some of you might have the household budget plan, so that means your rent will be taken straight away from your payment. This is usually 10% of what your income is. And I know there's so many different incomes because there's so many different types of families. So there might be a one parent family payment or a long parent payment, a disability allowance, job seekers. Some of you might even be on the COVID-19 payment. But just deduct what your rent is going to be and then your other bills, your gas and your electricity. Because if you're not topping up to the meter, there is a standard fee every day, and you don't want to come out of this going into arrears where you might have to top up your electricity by €100 just to get it back on. So remember to be topping these things up. It might be a good idea for some people as well that when you're in the post office on that day that you pay your rent, your gas, and your electricity, to do you for the 2 weeks, because in the case that you won't have any money in the second week. So then also if you have other debts within the community, if they're not paid, it can lead to intimidation or violence. If these are not paid, then that's not something that you want right now. Well, it's not something you want at all, but given the circumstances of the corona and having to isolate and stay in your home so much, this is just something, if you didn't pay your bills, that'll add to the pressure that I'm sure you're already feeling. And then the other one then is the second week's payment gone in the first week. So that's why it's important that if you can't hold on to money, you spend or you pay your bills in the post office that day, and then maybe on the same day that you do leave the post office, that you go and do your food shopping for to last you the 2 weeks. So customize this plan to suit yourself. So list your expenses, your outgoing, your debt, if you have money lenders, a provident bill. For some of you might have credit union loans, telly, Wi-Fi. List all them bills, and remember when you are doing your food shopping, you have 14 days that you need to have food for and 3 meals at least a day. So keep this in mind. Then further, there might be medication. Some might have a medical card, so it's a prescription fee, which is small, but it can all add up if you have a huge amount of medication that you have to get. So have that money aside, or go and get your medication for the 2 weeks on that day, so that money is paid. So I'm just going to do an example now of a single parent with one child, of what a budget plan might look like for them. So my income is 478. Out of that, I know it's just me and my daughter, so I just need to spend €100 on food to last me for the 2 weeks. For some, it might be more. For some, it could be a bit less because you might be receiving support. I know some schools are given hampers. Then also, if you're involved with some agencies, an addiction service or a family support worker, they can also be providing you with food packs at the moment. So the €100, it might not be for everyone. Some it'll be more, but just keep that in mind of what you think you need for to last you the 2 weeks. Then electricity, as I said earlier on in the video, me and my daughter would be spending a lot more time at home, so I need €35 to last me the 2 weeks. Gas then €30, as I said, because of the nice weather, I don't need it as much, but I'd probably need a little bit more than other people because my hot water is also heated up by my gas system. And then rent for me is €48. I'm lucky that I have the household budget plan and that'll be deducted straight away. So if I am struggling in these times, it won't be that I'll be coming out of it in rent arrears. So out of all, they're my bills. As I said, some people will have more, some will have less. So out of the income of 100 or 478, the total bills that I've just explained to you is 267. So this graph will put it into context a little bit more. So my income 478, total bills is 265, and then added bills, I owe some money to people that I need to pay. So with all that added together, I'm left with it totals to 385, and I'm only left with €98. Some people will smoke, some people don't. So if you smoke, you might have to buy cigarettes to last you for the 2 weeks, or you might not be able to afford cigarettes right now, so you might buy a pouch or two of tobacco. I know that in the second week, I might run out of some food like bread, milk, ham, the essentials that you probably use a lot of. So I'm going to give €20 to my key worker to hold for me for the second week, so I know that I still have that and I can provide the rest of what I need in the second week. Not everyone will have a key worker or someone that they're in contact with that will hold the money for them. But if you have a trusted person, a neighbour, or a family member within the home that you can ask to hold some of that money for you, it means that you have something for the second week. So just then, if you find you're really struggling throughout this time, I just have up there a list of services that are open right now. So a lot of them will be the local addiction service, including JAD is one of them, that are still open. If you find you're struggling, contact someone there. There's also the new HSE helpline that if you find that you have symptoms of the coronavirus. Then there's also a really good new one, which is the community helpline. So this can provide help for people who are really vulnerable, or for people who maybe need to cocoon and they can't get out and get the essentials or food and things like that. They can support you with that. So use these services if you need them. I'm just going to end this share for a second. So this was just a general plan. When you're doing your own plan, have a pen, have paper, write down what you need, what you have to pay, how much food you need for the 2 weeks, how much that's going to cost you, and try to be as realistic as possible when you're making this plan, so that you know that this is what has to go, this is what I have left. As I have said earlier on in the video, for some people, money burns a hole in their pocket. So pay your bills on that day, get your shopping, see what you have left over. If money does burn a hole in your pocket, for some people it does, ask someone to hold on to some of the money for you for the second week. Use your supports. If you have any other questions, or you might want support to make your own plan, if you think that you wouldn't be able to do it on your own, JAD's number is listed on the service update. So if you want to contact someone in JAD, they can maybe support you to customise your own plan to suit your family. I hope this video helps. Thank you.